The true crime account of the Acid King focuses on the 1984 unaliving of Gary Lauwers by his associate, Richard Ricky Casso Jr. in Northport, Long Island, New York. Casso, then 17, acquired the nickname Acid King due to his heavy use and distribution of LSD and other substances, having previously used grass. The press sensationalized the case, incorrectly portraying it as a satanic sacrifice, which helped fuel the widespread moral panic of the 1980s. This narrative centered on a supposed Knights of the Black Circle, a misrepresentation of a group of friends who were actually just distributing grass. The conflict that led to the tragic outcome began with a theft of substances. Lauwers had taken 10 bags of PCP from Casso's jacket after Casso lost consciousness at a gathering. Lauwers returned 5 bags and pledged to reimburse Casso $50 for the rest. However, this act of betrayal caused intense bitterness. Before the final events, Casso reportedly physically assaulted Lauwers multiple times, intensifying the dangerous situation between the two young people. On the evening of June 19, 1984, Casso, Lauwers, and 2 other teens, Jimmy Troiano and Albert Quinones, walked into the secluded Aztequia woods. Before the incident, the group ingested large amounts of substances, including what they thought was mescaline, likely LSD, and PCP. This extreme level of intoxication surely contributed to the awful and tragic nature of the night, severely impairing the judgment of everyone involved in the unaliving. The argument in the woods escalated into extreme violence, leading to the unaliving. Ricky Casso physically clashed with Gary Lauwers, and during the struggle, he injured him on the neck and used a knife on him severely. The severity of the assault was disturbing, with reports suggesting Lauwers sustained numerous wounds. Casso also allegedly damaged Lauwers' eyes afterward, a gruesome detail eagerly exploited by media reports. The supposed dark ritual aspect of the event came from a reported demand during the assault that preceded the unaliving. Casso allegedly commanded his victim, Gary Lauwers, "Say you love the devil." Lauwers is said to have initially refused, stating, "I love my mother," before reluctantly agreeing to Casso's demand. This single, shocking detail was magnified by the media and authorities, making it the central theme of the satanic sacrifice story. Following the unaliving, Casso and Troiano obscured Lauwers' remains with foliage and then left the area. The disappearance wasn't immediately noted. It wasn't until the teens began bragging about their actions to others that the truth emerged. The distraught Albert Quinones eventually guided authorities to the decomposed body hidden in Aztequia woods on July 4, 1984. The discovery of the victim's body led to the swift detainment of Ricky Casso and Jimmy Troiano the next day, July 5, 1984. The news of the unaliving, combined with allegations of substance misuse and dark ritual practices, created panic in the quiet Northport community and drew national attention. The case quickly became a symbol of perceived moral decline among American teens. Just 2 days after his arrest, while in custody, Ricky Casso performed a sluice slide by hanging himself in his detention cell on July 7, 1984. Casso's passing meant there would be no public court proceedings for the unaliving, leaving many key details about the true motivation unresolved. This lack of finality allowed the sensationalized, devil-focused narrative to cement itself in the public consciousness. The intense media focus extended well beyond typical crime reporting. Television shows and specials were produced, all debating whether American teens were genuinely involved in dark practices. This widespread anxiety became a defining cultural feature of the 1980s. Even the U.S. Congress became involved, holding discussions about supposed dark symbolism hidden in the music of the youth at the time. The Acid King case also became closely associated with the political landscape of the Reagan era, particularly First Lady Nancy Reagan's influential Just Say No anti-substance abuse campaign. The case served as a dramatic, though likely skewed, example for anti-drug crusaders, illustrating the supposed extreme and fatal results of substance misuse among suburban youth. Behind the media spectacle, the true account, as later explored by investigators and authors, was a sad depiction of suburban neglect, deep-seated emotional distress, and severe substance abuse. Both Casso and Lauwers were deeply troubled young men dealing with family conflicts and homelessness, relying on substance use, including grass, as a destructive coping mechanism. Despite his infamous name, Casso was more accurately portrayed as an abandoned and distressed teen who found a misguided sense of control and identity in his drug use and nihilistic worldview. His path, which started with grass and progressed to PCP and LSD while he was living on the streets, points to a broader failure to support vulnerable youth. Gary Lauer's story was equally sorrowful. He was a boy who tried to escape being bullied by using substances to gain acceptance, a choice that led him to steal from Casso. The lives of two young, troubled individuals converged tragically in the Long Island woods, leading to a brutal and completely avoidable Una living. The lasting impact of the Acid King story comes from its contribution to American culture. It provided powerful, though distorted, evidence for the moral panic, a cultural phenomenon focused on fears of ritual abuse and devil worship. The sensational elements, substances, teenage rebellion, violence, and fabricated dark rituals established it as a classic, enduring true crime narrative. While initial reports highlighted a shocking satanic sacrifice, later, more detailed accounts revealed a more difficult truth about the failure of the suburban ideal, a narrative of neglected, substance-dependent teens and a community unprepared to address the serious issues that led to the horrific act of Una living. That intense media coverage following the Una living had a profound and lasting impact on cultural views of rock and roll, especially heavy metal music, for decades to come. The sensationalized narrative of the Acid King and the alleged satanic sacrifice fueled the growing moral panic and was directly cited by conservative groups as proof that this music corrupted youth. Bands like AC/DC and Ozzy Osbourne, whose lyrics or iconography were sometimes perceived as dark, became targets of moral outrage and parental groups. This led to increased calls for music censorship and mandatory labeling, eventually culminating in the formation of the Parents Music Resource Center, PMRC. For a time, simply listening to heavy metal or dressing in the associated style became a sign of potential trouble or a link to dark practices in the eyes of many adults and authorities. The association between rock music and juvenile delinquency, drugs, and so-called Satanism, cemented by the media's handling of the Northport case, profoundly shaped the cultural battle lines that persisted well into the 1990s.